Ride around my top down, window shaking a lot now. I'ma stay proud, no Kane Brown, but I thank God for these days now. Don't make sounds, crash glass, no rebounds. End town, Nashville, and I stay proud now. Hey guys, welcome to Nastyville, where things get nasty. Today we have one of my good friends, also one of our co-hosts that I gave a call. I said, listen, you know what? Today we're gonna highlight this man, the one and only Chad Beebe. I brought with me Care Bear, aka Karen, and the one and only Will the Thrill-O-Matic, Mr. Nasty. How's it going, guys? How you guys doing?
What is going on?
Let's go.
Everything's great.
I don't know if you guys can see because I'm in the car at the moment, parked, but it's a beautiful day in Tennessee, and you gotta love, guys. I know you guys y'all are down in about 30 minutes from where I am, but the weather in Middle Tennessee right now is incredible.
It is incredible.
It is.
That is good. Thanks for highlighting the weather for us. Will, we love that. All right. So, Chad, how's your day going, man? How you doing?
It's going great. I'm enjoying the weather.
All right, heck yeah. It is it is a beautiful day. It is a beautiful day, I will say.
No, man, things are good. Things are good. We actually moved to the Nashville area about a year ago now. So
okay.
almost to the day.
And you moved from where? From
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you went from the cold to nice, or I mean, I guess semi-nice. When it gets cold out here, it's still dang cold, but
it ain't like the north though.
No, not like Minnesota in any ways. So what brought you to Nashville? Like what do you like most about Nashville so far?
You get a real sense of how nice the people are here.
Mm-hmm.
So my wife and I, when we first got married, we visited here. Took like a long weekend just to hang out and spent some time downtown. And yeah, man, just nice people. At the time, we drove around because we were looking for somewhere else to move. Because we didn't see Illinois, which is originally where I'm from, or Minnesota as like a long-term plan, because we got a baby girl now. She's just turned 2 in August, and we were looking for a place to raise a family, and we landed on good old Franklin, Tennessee. It's just south of Nashville. So,
you can't go wrong with Franklin, Tennessee.
No.
So I will say the same reason why you moved out here was the same reason I moved out here. I'm from New Jersey, where everyone is just completely ruthless. It was a huge game change for us. I was like, Chris, like there's actually nice people in this world. Like this is insane. Yeah, so we moved out here, and it's been a complete game changer. I'm sure probably the same thing for Will, or maybe Texas is Texas has some nice people though.
He looks like Texas. Huh?
He does.
Hey, listen, I will always, have love for the Lone Star State. But we, my wife and I lived out in Houston, and
we lost Will. All right. Well, he's gone, people. There he goes.
That is what you said.
Same story as Chad, exactly.
He said he was parked. Oh boy, we better check on him.
While we're on this subject, I will say Colorado does have the nicest people out of everyone, including Karen. But the only reason why Colorado are the nicest people is because everyone's high, the whole state.
Oh, man.
Yeah, all the time, and it's sunny here all the time. So we've got great weather today too.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, so he's back. All right, there he is. Thrill, we love that about you.
We missed you.
Guys, I don't know what happened, but anyway, long story short, 2 kids, same story as Chad. We thought this would be a great spot to raise the family. And so here we are, and we absolutely love it because you get the best of both worlds. You've got the city life and Nashville, Music City, all the amenities of a poppin' town, but you drive 30 minutes from downtown and you're out in the sticks, and you can hit a deer on the freeway when you're on your way out there. So it's pretty cool. You get 4 seasons and everything. So yeah, we love it out here.
All right, so chat. Let's get to it, my brother. So the world knows you as NFL player, like legendary background as far as like NFL, almost NFL royalty from your father to you and passed down second generation, like playing in the NFL, which is super impressive, super impressive. So, like, what made you start football? Like, what was your going edge? Like, was it watching your father like grow up, or like what was your first initial feeling into getting into football?
That's a good question because, truthfully, yeah, my dad played 9 years, went to 6 Super Bowls. So he was a lot of different things to me and still is. But the funny thing is, he never actually made me feel like I had to play football. Matter of fact, he wouldn't even talk about it or bring it up unless I asked him about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because and growing up, I never understood it, and it kind of drove me crazy because I actually wanted to talk football and hear his stories and stuff like that. And but as I got older and I look back and I asked him about it, he's just told me, he's like, I never wanted to make you feel like you had to play, because regardless of the situation or how well he took care of, me and my sisters growing up, like there's kind of some undue pressure there to become somebody when your father plays in the National Football League. I'm the only son. I've, got
Yeah.
3 sisters. And so it's like, well, what's this kid going to do?
Yeah.
Like kind of one of those deals. And so he knew that going into it. I was like, well, I'm not going to make him feel like he has to play. And so we never really talked about it. But it just so happened that I kind of grew up and I had a knack for the game too. And also, as I continued to grow into high school, I had a passion to play it too. That passion was there. So
did you play like Pee Wee and all of that stuff as a kid?
Yeah. So funny story, actually. My first experience with football in tackle, and we started, I was 7 or 8 years old when we first started tackle football. And my first day out in pads, I just get popped big time. I go home crying. I'm in the car crying. I'm like, Pops, I don't know if I can play this game, whatever. And he's like, all right, son, like, look, you don't have to play, but just let's make a deal. Okay. You go out tomorrow, and instead of taking the hit, I want you to go out there and give it.
And
right?
give the hit.
Like, go hit the guy yourself. And then we'll see where we're at. Right. And he tells a story better, right? Because I was young, but he's like, I went out there, blah, blah, blah. And it was the Texas drill where you're laying on your back, you get up, and all you do is just go and hit each other. One guy's got a ball, right? And you try to score a touchdown, and the other guy's just trying to wreck you, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was the one with the ball this time, and I just run this kid over. And he'll tell you, he's like, I've never seen my eyes light up so big before. And the rest is history, man. Like I was like, yeah, this game's fun. You know what I mean? Like it's from then on, like that seed that was planted that day just continued to grow.
That's crazy.
But yeah, man, the first day of padded football, man, I went home crying.
That's great. You know what? Like
I almost gave up, right?
Like Dallas, so like my son, 4 years old, we signed him up for wrestling. And last week, or the week before, he had no idea what the heck he was doing, like wrestling stance. And a lot of these other little kids have wrestled already, surprisingly. So Dallas is just standing straight up, and this little kid comes and grabs his legs and takes him, and literally pin needle right to his butt and just bounces on his butt like twice. And I saw his eyes just start to tear up like no other. His eyes were just tearing. But he didn't want to cry because he was holding the tough mentality. So he's like, but he was about to cry. So like
he was embarrassed. Yeah.
So the whole week, like, or whatever, at first he was like I didn't want to do it. Then towards the end of the week, he's like, no, I'm gonna wrestle. Like this is it. I'm gonna be tough this week. Watch, I'm gonna be tough. So obviously he may not be a professional wrestler, but just not giving up.
Learned.
Sometimes you fall down, but you got to get back up and move forward.
Yeah.
All right. So from that Pee Wee age, you go to now you're in high school, right? In high school, did you start to really excel, in high school, or what was your big like key moment in high school? Were you like a freshman, sophomore when people were like, "Yo, Chad Beebe's nasty, bro"? Like, what
um,
part?
yeah, man. So my freshman year, I was a runt. I'm still not the biggest guy, right? But I mean, I was like 5 foot, maybe another inch, and like
Yeah,
104 pounds. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So I'm like walking into high school looking like a sixth grader.
yeah.
And freshman year, I'm just playing like freshman JV ball, but I love the game at this
Hmm.
point. Like I love the game. So I think the big turning point for me was sophomore years when I started playing some varsity ball and was making some catches, scoring some touchdowns. But the big turn was my junior year. That's when I finally hit like a growth spurt, and put on some more weight and stuff. And that's when I was finally starting to get some looks from colleges um, and and whatnot. But my high school experience was a blast, man. Outside of a lot of injuries, which really played a part in my story, a lot of injuries, which started my sophomore year of high school. But a lot of fun. My dad was my coach, which was cool.
In high school?
Yeah, he's my high school coach.
Holy crow!
Won the state junior, senior year. A lot of cool experiences and being able to share with my father too, which was really cool.
Yeah.
My cousin was my quarterback.
I
Like it
feel
was
like
it was
I
a
feel
good
like we
time,
need
man.
to like approach Netflix with like that sort of story,
Yeah,
because that's
they've
like
reached out to him.
that. Well, I mean,
Or
dude,
different yeah, people have reached out.
that's a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
story right there, or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
man.
I watch movies like that all the time,
Yeah.
like the Kurt Warner story, Love,
Uh-huh.
something like this, like
Yeah.
like Don Beebe coming back coaching his son to the championship is pretty sick.
Yeah. Oh, his story is crazy. But yeah, man. So it's fun to share those experiences with your mentor, father,
Yeah.
coach.
Did he take it harder on you
No,
as a
like,
kid,
yeah.
or was it like easier? Like,
So I'm the type of guy, or I guess kid in this situation back in high school, and growing up where they didn't really have to discipline me too much. Like they would just give me a look and I would already feel guilty about it and want to change. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so like I think the same concept like with him coaching, like he just look at me and be like, just don't do it again. And I'd be like, yeah, I don't want to. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
didn't want to make mistakes. Well,
Mhm.
actually, one of my most favorite quotes, I think it's a Michael Jordan quote, but my dad used it all the time. It was like, everybody's gonna make mistakes or everybody's gonna fail at some point, but the best ones just make less of those mistakes. And
Wow.
I love that. I took it to heart. And but to kind of answer your question, like my dad, he was really good at he was a coach on the football field and he was a father at home. Like
Mhm.
there wasn't any like mixed um not emotions, but just like
Mixed.
yeah,
So
none of that was meshed together. Like he wasn't like a father on the football field, and
he
like
knew how to switch the
solely.
hats good,
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah,
is good.
yeah,
Which you have to. I feel like a great coach has
yeah.
to be a
Hmm.
coach,
Yeah,
then, and a great father has to be
yeah,
totally separate.
yeah. I don't know if I think I would have got burnt out if he was a coach at home too.
Yeah.
Like I would have been like, I'm done with this.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, and does not want to do it
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, you kind of took it out. You actually read my mind because I was saying, was he harder on you? But that's good that he had his role on the field and the role at home,
Hmm.
um, and that's awesome. But I was going to ask you, who was your favorite team growing up then?
Ooh, that's a great question there.
Yeah.
No one's probably asked that.
I mean, it's weird, right? Because growing up, I mean, being around the game, I was young, so I was born in Buffalo, New York, where my dad started his career. He's drafted to the Bills, um, and then we moved to Carolina for a year because he had a year stint with them, and then finished his career in Green Bay. So, um, growing up, we were Bills fans because that's where my dad fell in love. He fell in love with the organization. He fell in love with the fan base and his coach Marv Levy, who he actually lives in Chicago right now. Coach Marv Levy does, and they'll still go and get dinner.
Yeah.
That's the relationship he had with his head coach, right? And which is really cool. So, um, growing up, yeah, growing up, we were Bills fans, and truthfully, I still kind of am.
Mhm.
Obviously, I have ties to Minnesota, and I'll always bleed purple. But um, growing up, it was Bills for sure.
Bills. My father was a huge Bills fan.
Yeah.
Too, which was like weird because like no one else like liked the Bills. Like my sisters liked the Giants. I liked the Cowboys, and my dad liked the Bills.
Well, it was
But-
the '90s Bills. I mean, they went to 4 Super Bowls in a row, right? So I think it was common around that time. You're either a Bills fan or like a Dallas fan.
Yeah,
right?
Bills or Dallas. Yeah,
They were the
air.
teams. They were the team. Anyway,
Or a Bronco fan. The Vikings are coming to Sunday night, so I'm going to that game.
There you go.
Vikings.
That'll be fun. Yeah.
Where did you play college?
So a little bit of a hometown deal, but I went to Northern Illinois University. It's like 30 minutes from my hometown.
Heck
so
yeah.
Lots of family. They were able to come to games. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's
but in the middle of nowhere, Illinois, DeKalb, Illinois.
That's crazy.
You're driving down 88, which is the main hub highway going past DeKalb, and you can see the entire city of DeKalb from the highway.
Wow.
I swear, man. Games, we had the windiest games, the coldest games.
That's
man.
So like
we won games.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. If you guys were 0-12, I mean, you probably wouldn't have gotten picked up to the NFL or whatever. Like,
no, probably not. I mean, truthfully, my story was crazy in and of itself, but definitely a God story there. But yeah, and I mean, it helps when you're a part of a winning program to get some more.
Did you guys win any bowl games or?
Geez, a good question. We actually never won a bowl game, but we won 2 championships, conference championships while I was there.
Oh, okay. That's impressive.
Which is cool. Yeah.
What do they give you for like college championships? You get like a ring or something?
You get a ring. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But we went to a bowl game every year that I was there, which is, I mean, that's a fun experience because you go and you stay for like 3 or 4 days and they give you a bunch of stuff. And
yeah,
like one year I got 2 recliners, like
yeah,
but it's great for a college athlete, right? You put the recliners in your apartment and
all day. Yeah, you're like just sitting there.
But you're not gonna do anything for me long term, right? It's just funny.
From college, was it almost immediately after you like graduate college, you get the call from the NFL, or how does that work for draft? Like I always wondered, like, all right, you know what? It's draft time. You put your name in the portal, or like, how does that work?
It's a little abnormal. My story.
Well, tell us. This is different.
I mean, the normal route, right, is you get put in like a portal or whatever, and you go and do a pro day, or you get picked to go to the NFL Combine, and then you get drafted, right, and then you go to your team and play.
Yeah.
Right. So there's like 3 different tiers. There he is.
Look who decides to show up.
We'll shake it right now.
Oh.
That's what, bro. So it took me a long time to decide. Bro. If I was gonna make this one, because I know it was 1993. When Leon,
there it is.
Let with 2 T's. This man, Daddy, hawked him down, and probably still goes down. Now that I researched it a little bit, he's probably still the fastest white boy that ever ran. He looked super fast that day.
Yeah.
But Jesus Christ, clocked in 4.2. Like
he gets overshadowed because that was the Deion Sanders era too, right?
Yeah, Deion.
I don't care who else was on the field that day, bro. I mean, that man took a big man touchdown away. Look, I harped on him the last time we talked, and now we live and in color, and he's a guest. Come on, man. The show is going downhill, bro.
No.
What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
Good to see you, brother.
Shake your hand.
Oh, yeah, we good.
All right, so
what's up, y'all?
All right, so in the mid of how he's getting picked up for draft, right? Yep. So, are you doing the combine?
Yeah. So, kind of getting back to it, there's like 3 tiers, right? So you're either drafted guy, more high profile, or you make it all the way through the draft. You don't get picked up. You're signed a free agent right away. You're still confronted with the contract you sign, right? You're part of a team, or you're the bottom of the barrel mini camp invite, like, let's just bring you in because you're fresh blood and you can run around and catch balls from our drafted QBs. That was me. Yeah. Right. Okay. Bottom of the barrel type of thing. And so we were talking to teams, and honestly, matter of fact, Denver, I thought was actually going to draft me late. They never did. So they were kind of giving me some false hope, the Broncos. But
Sorry
no,
to hear.
it's all part of it, man. But 2 or 3 days go by after the draft, and I'm like, man, what am I gonna do? And then I got 2 calls, one from the Indianapolis Colts, and they invited me out to their minicamp invite, which is the first weekend of the start of the off season, where it's like 3 days where they just bring in the rookies, maybe some new free agents who are trying to learn the playbook, but just trying to bring their new guys in to get them their feet wet before the vets come into town a week or 2 later. And so I got, again, an invite from Indianapolis Colts, which was going to be 2 weeks from that date of the call. But then Minnesota then calls me a day after Indianapolis and says, hey, we want to bring you up for our mini camp too. They call it a rookie mini camp, forgive me. And we want you to be a part of that too, and see what you got, blah, blah, blah. And that was a week from the call. So Minnesota was first, and then I'm like, okay, if that doesn't work out, I got one more chance with the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
And so I get up to Minnesota, man, and I pull in this lot in my Honda Civic, and I'm like, holy smokes.
The game has changed.
Just seeing, the gate opens up, like I got to type in a code to get in. And I'm driving up. I'm like, holy smokes, man, these guys,
That's funny.
All these, cars, and I'm just like, all right, do I even belong here? And then I walk into the building, I'm like, holy smokes, man.
Yeah.
All the bells and whistles. And this was like when Minnesota just got their new facility put in Eagan, Minnesota, just outside the city. And I'm like, Lord, where have you brought me? Like, I don't belong here. You know what I'm saying? I'm walking in, and I'm, nobody knows my name really. And I'm just like, I'm not in the main locker room yet. Like, I'm in this side locker room with, like, all of these
it's easy to move you out of there.
Yeah. With all these other.
I don't want it to be permanent yet. So it's a temporary setup.
Exactly. But like with all of these other mini camp invites, because there's typically around like 25 to 30, I think. I may be mistaken, but I know it's about around that number. Well, they'll invite guys in to just be bodies so they can practice. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So majority of the time, like, these guys come in for a weekend and they're gone. But so day one, I walk in, there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of meetings. And like I said, I just feel like a shadow. Like I'm like, I don't belong here, whatever. And day 2 comes around, and truthfully, like, I swear to you, like, this is, and I don't know, this is the Lord, I'm a man of faith. And I just was praying. I'm like, Lord, like, just let me play my best football this weekend. And I did. Like, I swear, I was playing really good football, and I was on my P's and Q's. And day 2 comes around, I'm still playing well, and I feel more eyes on me, and the coaches are starting to interact more with me. And then day 3, because it's only a 3-day camp, day 3 was just the beginning. So like the first half of the day, and then like Coach Zimmer was following me around, and then the GM, I felt it was like watching, right? So I'm like, okay, something might be going on here. Like, this could be a good sign. And after that, I was pulled aside by the assistant GM and say, by me and another guy, Craig James, who I think is still playing. I think he's with the Jets right now. They and Johnny Stanton, fullback. Anyway, pulled me aside and said, hey, we loved what you did this weekend. We want to sign you. And it's so cutthroat where they had their roster practically full. So they had to cut a guy that I was in the room with all that whole weekend, a wideout. They cut him, and then they signed me. That's how cutthroat it is. And the rest is history. And
holy crap.
So yeah, man, that's kind of my way into the NFL, and it's not.
That's the hard route.
Yeah, that's the hard route for sure.
Yeah.
But
and
I
that's
think,
like working it up. Like, you got like, that's putting in the work right there.
And I don't know if I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. Looking back, my career didn't really end the way I wanted it to, but the beginning part of it, like, I wouldn't have changed it.
That's crazy.
And being able to say you got drafted, that's pretty incredible stuff.
Oh, dude, absolutely. But, think about how many people play.
That's what I was
football.
about to say. It's a lot of people that never get, like,
even looked at.
You don't even get that nod to be there, to even try to follow that same path. So
Mhm.
No, the whole way I was just like, man, this is a blessing. This is a blessing. This is a blessing. You
Yeah.
know, feeling so undeserving all along the way, truthfully. But I don't know.
That is crazy. All right, so listen, this is the part of the show, and then we're gonna get to the because I got some things I want to ask you, some big things of what's going on right now. But we have a little section in this show where we allow the one and only Will the Thrill-O-Matic to go on a little nasty
it's the rant.
rant.
Let's hear it.
I know how he thinks of these things. So I know it's been prepping on him for the whole week on this next rant. So, Thrill, I'm gonna throw the ball in your court.
Mm-hmm.
You got a 3-minute rant. Let's see what you got this
Yeah.
week.
Most people may not know that the first 15 years of my life after college, I was in the corporate world. I was a structural engineer. I was in the oil and gas business that whole time in corporate America. And until I moved out here to Nashville, where I finally got to jump into my true calling, which is show business, I was stuck going into the office, suit, tie, the whole shebang, sitting in meetings, all that kind of stuff. And let me tell you what, in the 15 years I was an engineer in the oil and gas business, I must have met or sat in a meeting with every single absolute douche nozzle in the United States of America. Like you guys, you know, athlete, you know, music recording artist, you know, the corporate world, I'm telling you, it's a whole different beast. I worked with there, you know, you got the one guy who has to justify his paycheck every meeting he sits in. And if he doesn't open up his big mouth to contribute something of absolutely zero value in the course of that meeting, well, he hasn't justified his paycheck. These guys are you can't count them. They are prolific. They're little cockroaches. They don't they leave messes. It's just, you would be surprised the kind of people you encounter in the corporate world. Now, the supervisors, don't ask me how they get into their roles, because I've worked with some of the most incompetent Napoleonic schmucks that you would not believe have worked their way up into VP positions in Fortune 500 companies. I have sat in meetings where things were said that I swear to God, if another grown man said something to like that to me in a bar or out on the football field, I would hit him in the mouth. But he can get away with saying that in the conference room because, you know what? Everyone is trying to keep their jobs. And you know what? HR ain't worth nothing. Believe me when I say you're not going to go and tattle the HR. So you're really just walking out of the office hoping and praying you actually see that guy in a bar. Because, oh my gosh. They all walk into the office with this air of self-importance that is, you smell it. It reeks. It's disgusting. And you can't even look at it. You can't even talk with them. And let me tell you what, I would rather drive Uber. I would rather scrub dishes at a restaurant than go back to corporate life. Believe me when I say, good riddance. It's so great to be done with that. And I feel your pain. Anybody who has to go in and punch a 9-to-5 with the douche nozzles that work in corporate America.
Hey man, I gotta go.
That's all I got. One quick question for Chad though. You know, I played cornerback, so I was a DB. There was a fair amount of smack talking and stuff on the field. Did that happen a lot in the NFL? And do you recall any formidable DB matchups that you'll always remember and regard in your career as a receiver?
That's a great question.
Oh
That's a good
man. So
question.
my smack talk was always is I'm gonna turn my back to you and just let you keep talking to my back, and then I'll see you on the next play. That was my smack talk. Oh man, but some matchups. I mean that's a good question. I think probably the guy that I personally went up against, was Darius Slay when he was with Detroit. I was actually put up against him a few times my very first game on the field,
Ooh.
Yeah.
and that was fun. That was good. But I think the only time I was kind of smack talking was actually during practice. So at the pro level, like, yeah, you guys are a team and you're buddy off the field, but when you're on the field, like it's an interview every single day. And so you're constantly just like bickering with your own defense, you know what I mean? And like trying to compete every day. And so I was going up against a guy named Mackenzie Alexander, and I'm not sure if he's still playing yet, but he had a nice career. And if he's still playing, he's, really good career. But anyway, he would laugh if he saw this, but we were always going at it, man. Always going at it. But that was with him. I probably smack talk a little bit and gave him a little bit of some flack back. What I said, maybe not need to be talked about. No, I kid.
On the field stays on the field. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, what happens on the field stays on the field. Yeah.
That'd be a fun show though if you all ran around with microphones that we got to hear, like maybe during the game.
Oh, that's what makes the mic'd up so fun. Except that's hard edited. Otherwise, that mic'd up wouldn't make it that much longer.
No, if it was pure stuff.
Yeah. I think there's probably something on YouTube. They mic'd me up for one practice, but I was like the gosh darn it guy.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a cursor, so I'm not swearing a whole lot at all even, but
that's funny.
Yeah, I think you wanted to say something to Will.
Yeah, I thought Will
get him back.
Yeah, I thought the rant was great. However, I personally felt attacked
because you're like the head of HR.
Because I'm the head of HR, and I've been in these meetings. I've been in these meetings to where this Napoleonic complex surfaces, and you have to sit there and play that baseline of do I address this professionally now, or do we talk about it when we get back to the office? But yeah, man, I mean, don't get me wrong. Nothing that you said was wrong because you were 100% spot on. But seeing that is currently still my life. So I don't know if I should have showed up today or just stayed home like I had planned, because I had my own rant across the table when I got here, and then I got attacked from the back end of it. So I've been sitting here for all of 8 minutes, and it's been 7 minutes of pure hell all day. So it's that's all right though. Well, I still love you, baby. So we're all good.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And listen, I just got one more thing to add.
Oh, Jesus.
He gone.
And he's gone.
Yeah, he left.
Yes. There it is. Classic.
He's like, I'm not going to stand for this.
All right. So going from that to the next step. All right. So Chad, super involved with kids and stuff like that. The vision is clear. So tell me what you're working on right now. Like what's the name of the program that you're working on right now? What do you got going?
Yeah, so I started a company called Lead a Legacy. And it's trying to inspire youth, 7th, 8th, high school, even a little bit into college to trying to lead them into their own legacy so that they can make a difference in their own family, but even more so make a difference in their own life.
Okay.
A lot of kids are struggling nowadays, especially ever since the pandemic and just, mental illness and all that. It's like it's a real thing. And so trying to fill a gap, because I feel like a lot of kids, they struggle to find an outlet to speak to somebody about what they got going on inside of them, their heart and their mind. And let's face it, like, growing up, a lot of times you don't want to go to your parents. Where do you go to? You go to your friends who are probably,
just as messed up as you.
Or worse, right? So it's like, you're not going to get good advice from your friends, but it makes you feel good. Makes the kid feel good for a second. Like, okay, I'm not alone, but the advice is terrible, right? So it's like, trying to fill that gap and step into kind of that empty space of, you know, I want to be on your team and I want to help, you know, guide you along your journey, you know. And so I started a program called Resilience Revival, and we're hoping to launch that in January, or, you know, the very beginning of this next year, 2024. And just trying to help teach kids how to be resilient in a world that really wants to just, you know,
Keep
pound
pounding
them.
you.
Yeah,
Yep.
man.
Mhm.
Just like one hit after another,
Yeah.
and confusion and social media where they're being fed lies all the time, and just, you know, false truth, you know, false reality, and try to bring them back to really helping them figure out who they are at the root, what they value, bring out what they're scared of, what they're fearful of, and then work off of that to build some mental toughness and some character building off of the back end.
Mhm.
And it's a 3-month program, and I've really pulled on my own experience and what I've been through in my life, and then what I've been taught along the way too, and tried to curate this thing into like a 3-month program where I can, you know, speak to these kids and try to help them along the way,
Mhm.
and whatnot. But it is geared towards athletes, because that's my background and that's what I know. So it's a program. It's geared towards that 7th grader to, you know, early college years. But would love to get my hands on any of them. You know,
Yeah.
I would love to help it, you know, hundreds and thousands of kids if I could, you know, in the name of Jesus. But um, yeah, man, I'm passionate about it. I really am, and we'll see where it goes. But I'm excited.
Yeah, and I'll say firsthand, Chad ran this camp. The
Right.
camp was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah.
I've
Did
gone
you
out
see
and
the
checked out the
video
pictures and
of the
videos
camp?
and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the highlight how
Yeah.
sick was that?
It was funny
freaking
then,
video?
you know, it was cool for us because we had neighbors there, you know, so we see our little neighbors that, you know, we just know as
Yeah,
neighbors, and then you're
Yeah.
like, oh, they are actually trying to go get it. So,
Yeah.
no,
It
that's
was
cool.
hot.
Which
day,
is
man.
cool.
It was a
which
hot
is
day.
cool. And
That's
then
really cool.
like the message of what you told these kids, like I had chills, like being there from like an outsider on the hottest day of the year.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
had
man,
chills.
I felt bad for the kids.
It was
man.
like 102 degrees.
It's character building.
And I had
It's all good.
and I had chills
Yeah.
from the message that he delivered these kids. Like it was so impactful that probably to this day, like obviously if you ask like a Liam or whatever
Right.
that had went to the camp, they'll
Right.
say the same exact thing. Like, and obviously like Liam or whatever, great kid,
Yeah.
one of the best kids I know, super, so like literally biggest heart in the
Right.
world.
Yep. Biggest heart in the world.
And he'll try his hardest in everything.
He's gonna give it
Yeah.
everything he has.
Yeah,
out there,
everything
so,
that he's got.
Yeah.
Hasn't played football a day in his life.
Right.
I'm
He's
like,
the
Liam,
baseball
you're
guy,
coming to
right.
this football
Yeah.
camp, man,
Yeah.
or whatever.
No,
Or
that's
whatever. And he gave it 100%.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like that was the most fun he probably had
Yeah.
in weeks or whatever,
Right.
because like the camp was so fun. He got to learn some skill sets that he never would learn.
Getting a solid message, you know,
And-
to take with him.
Yeah,
you know,
solid
so,
message, and you're learning from
Yeah.
one of the
From one of the best.
one of the best,
Yeah.
which is great.
Right. And
So
I think that's why it's cool too, though, because of like I think your path has allowed it gives you that story,
Mhm.
you know, to tell to where you can walk in the door and say it didn't come easy to me. You know, you
Yeah.
have these quarterbacks that come out that everybody's fighting over, and you're down to the final hour. Who's taking who number one and who's
Yeah.
two, and did you make a mistake through the 7 rounds and all that fun stuff? And then you have you
Uh-huh.
that you go. I
Mhm.
mean, 7 would have been fine by me.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen, you know, yet it still happened, you know, in due time. And because of the work and the, you know, effort, and because you're passionate, you know, because this passion, and this ain't something that just started with you. Like you've
Mhm.
learned through, you know, organization, you've learned through parenting, you've learned through marriage, and, you know,
Yeah.
your beliefs and everything else that built
Yeah.
the man that can stand there and get this man chills, you know, on 102-degree, you know, days. So I think that's what's missing a lot. And, you know, man, we talk all the
Mhm.
time, but I think, you know, that's one of the things that we're missing the most with these kids, because it's exactly what you said. Like they don't have that out.
They
You know,
don't.
dude,
Yeah.
especially as guys, and no offense, Carrie, you know, but as guys, women are brutal,
Yeah.
man. Like, I mean, you know, like you learn it that with that level of petty is that level of petty throughout.
Mm-hmm.
We can get mad at each other from 5 years old, go fight it out, and I swear we're sitting at the same lunch table before it's all said
best
and done.
friends. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference for us growing up, like, and we kind of we're in a tight age bracket, but it's still, wide enough that when we were growing up, we could escape it. Like you went to school and you had the bullies and you had, somebody. I get here today and I was like, crap, man, I know he's gonna come hit me, or I know he's gonna say something stupid and have everybody laughing at me all day. But I knew when that bell rang, I was on the bus and I was back home and I could escape it for at least 24 hours.
Yeah.
Versus now, it's just that vicious cycle that
Oh,
they
the
never
kids,
escape it. You
24/7.
got TikTok, you got IG, you got
Brutal.
Facebook,
Yep.
but it never turns off. So now you see him turn down because all the air is constantly sucked out of you. And if you're not mentally, strong enough to adapt and handle that, and if you don't have that regular everyday back in the push, because it's like you said, your kid might not want to come to you. They may be more comfortable, and my kid may be
coming
more
to
comfortable
another
coming to
person.
you,
Yeah.
and vice versa. But if you don't have that circle and not created that village or a camp or
Mm-hmm.
a foundation, whatever it is, that you give them that little bit of an escape, because then, I mean, we're all in trouble. Because now I'm telling you, we're gonna sit back and these are the same kids that got to take care of us in a couple years.
Yeah.
And I can promise you, if you can't shake out of it now when I need you the most in my life, I'm assuming that my legs will just be sitting there on the toilet, buddy, waiting on somebody to come help me up
The thing
because they couldn't make it out the kitchen because somebody said something to them on IG and they're still scrolling their phone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's the scary part of it all.
I'll tell you one thing, and I got a story to go with this, right? So like, perfect example of exactly what you're doing right now that I didn't realize I was doing at the time, right? So I must have been a sophomore, no, probably freshman in high school. I went to a small Christian school called American Christian School at the time. And I volunteered. So every day after school, I would coach a basketball team and teach all like baseball and different sports and stuff like that to the students of the school. So so the kids after school, a lot of times, like, I would be with for hours, like 3 or 4 hours, because their parents are working their tail off and like they just couldn't make it in time to pick up their kids. So I got to spend a lot of time with this one student or whatever. And I knew there was greatness in this kid from the second I laid eyes on him, right? Or whatever. As a matter of fact, he was in 3rd grade and I coached the 6th through 8th grade basketball team. And I don't know how they allowed me to do this, but I put this 3rd grader on a 6th through 8th basketball team because it was private school. So they're just like, all right,
well, it works well that direction. It don't work so well the other direction.
Back
so
down.
like
Yeah. So I put
Yeah.
this 3rd grader on our 6th through 8th basketball team. Sure enough, the 3rd grader scored 32 out of 34 points for our team and won the game. Won the game for us. Like 34 to like 30 or whatever, that we beat this team because this little third grader came in and did. But like, you know what, like, and I nurtured the kid. I was like, you know what, like, all right, look, this is how you're gonna do a layup better. This is how you're gonna do this. Like, I'm like 4 or 5 years older at the time, or what, like, even though, but like every day after school, like for that kid, and I will tell you, his parents put in the work or whatever, like to make sure that he can go to private school and stuff like that, and not just private school while he was a kid. Then he went to the same high school that I went to, Pope John or whatever. And now the same kid that I'm talking about is went to the Dallas Cowboys, Noah Brown.
Noah Brown.
And then now is destroying it for the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
And I think that that little bit of impact that I left him at a kid
Yeah.
while nobody was there after school putting in the work with this
So you're
kid.
low key taking credit for who Noah Brown is today.
In a way,
if we're reading between the lines, you're low key saying that Noah Brown is the receiver and athlete that he is because of young Drake.
Yeah.
Well,
No, I'm
would Noah
teasing you, bro.
say?
in a way, I'm just saying.
But you're right, man. I mean, it takes that one. I mean, it really does, and that's why I appreciate what you said. It takes that one. You impact one, and
Yeah,
that one's gonna impact one, and that
because you don't
right.
know these
Yeah.
kids' backstory. The thing is, like, people don't like everyone sees like this big NFL star
Right.
or whatever. They don't know what it was before that
Yeah.
star.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these NFL players like turn into complete maniacs and stuff like that because they don't have a good background. They don't know like the right principles and stuff like that. Like to go off of. They don't have that faith that
Yeah.
you need in order to have these right qualities. That's why you see a lot of these huge stories of like Ray Rice
Yeah.
or like even currently freaking what's his name? The Cleveland quarterback.
Oh,
Deshaun Watson or whatever. And the NFL gave him a second chance or whatever.
Yeah.
But like some of these things that if someone would have taught them before, they probably would have never made that mistake.
Well,
And
but it's crazy. It's almost like being a child though. You could have the perfect foundation and the perfect backing.
Correct.
And once you get to that certain point, and once you elevate, and once you're an adult, your parents could have done everything that they possibly could have done to put you in the best situation ever.
Yeah.
And you still make that one bad mistake that costs you everything.
Mhm.
And it's I'll use Trev for an example. You see the last name and not harping on it, but you see the last name and like in high school, if your dad was at the school, bro, it's almost a shoe in. Like they're like, boy, gotta be decent.
Yeah.
The league, it don't translate like that.
Yeah.
You could have had all the backyard practice with one of the best receivers that's ever played the game in the backyard. But if you don't go out there and you don't put in that work and you don't have that back and the same for them now, they are the new kids that still don't have that support that used to.
I should interject here because I think you're hitting it. So there are so many guys that fall through the cracks. Like there are so many wide receivers better than me, so many, but they didn't make it. Why didn't they make it? So, for example, and I won't say names, but like the guy that they ended up cutting so that I could, sign with them to make room. There wasn't, the little things weren't being done, right? So like showing up on time, like being respectful in meetings and giving, 110% on the field and showing how much you care, how much you want to be there. Like people don't realize how much those little things matter.
Right.
And it's not just in sport, it's in life too.
Right.
Like when you can do those little things the right way, like it does come back to you. Like in this life or the next, like just doing the right thing on a consistent basis is crucial, man.
Yeah.
Like, and it means something, right? It's integrity. Who are you when nobody's even looking?
That's the key,
right? Like who are you?
That's the key.
Right? Like you're not defined by the size of your office, right?
Yeah.
But you're defined on who you are when you're by yourself. Like,
well, it goes back to what Will said.
In the shadows.
Will said, I mean, in the rant is really interesting because, and you again, we're kind of, you hit it spot on in that it don't matter the size of the office. It don't matter the position. Yeah. It doesn't matter what your title is, whether that's inside or out the office. Dude, at the end of the day, and I tell my kid this over and over, and it's probably the one thing that I pounded probably more than anything. You go down as being a good human. Point blank, period. Whether somebody's watching you or not, you wake up with purpose to be the best human you can be every single day.
100%.
And I can promise you everything else around that. It may not happen on your time, but I can promise you everything around that. You will succeed. You will be okay in life.
Yeah.
Because you woke up with the right mindset and the right purpose. And that's what we got to keep pouring into each other and these folks that are going to leave us sitting on the toilet.
Yeah. Like when you lay your head, at night on the pillow, right? Like and your mind starts racing. Like, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts? Right? Like, kids so badly want to have purpose. They want to know that they belong. They want to know that they matter.
Right.
Right. And so for me, like, I think faith is a huge part of that.
Yeah.
That gives you purpose. And that's at the end of the day, that is truth.
That's true.
And so when you lay your head on the pillow, that kid is like, I have purpose. Like, I've been designed for a reason.
Right.
And I need to live that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not defined by what everybody else says about me, even what my friends or my family says about me, but what does the Lord say about me? That's how you can lay your head on the pillow and be like, okay, this is the way that it should be. Like, we don't have to be scared about the next day. Take each day as it comes, and that's true purpose, and that's how I live my life, and I try to tell everybody that I can.
You can see, but honestly, I
real.
just met you face to face last time we shot. You hung out with us. But it's an air.
You can tell
it's
right
an air.
Off the rip.
Like, literally, we hadn't shook hands. No formal introduction. That it presents itself. Like, and when it's been done right, it's not I need to prove it to somebody type deal. You go about your life like you go about your life, and that follows you before you ever open your mouth or any gesture that you ever offer.
So, Chad, what's your final words that you want to tell the people?
Man, I really don't have much else to say. I appreciate all the kind words. I don't feel deserving of them, but I appreciate it. And yeah, man, I just want to encourage people. I just feel like it, again, specifically after the pandemic, it's just like, I don't know, we just got to get back to everybody helping each other, community, and
be a good human.
Yeah, just be a good human.
Blank,
like, everybody's got stuff going on. I just think that there's a lot of victim mentality. Like, put your nose to the grind. Like, if you want something in life, go get it. Don't just have your hands out waiting for something.
Yeah.
And be a good person.
This podcast is brought to you by the one and only Big D's. If you haven't tried it, you have to put it on everything. It's literally the greatest sauce ever. Put it on everything. Welcome to Nastyville. Stay nasty.
Lock in.
Ride around my top down, window shaking a lot now. I'ma stay proud, no Kane Brown, but I thank God for these days now. Don't make sounds, crash glass, no rebounds. In town, Nastyville, and I stay proud now.